Hello everyone, my name is Jeremy Flowers. I'm the Director of Coordinated Community Response, and today on Cup of Hope we will have Serena, a survivor advocate, as she shares her journey here with ETCC and what she does day in to meet survivors' needs. Good morning everyone, welcome back to A Cup of Hope, where we invite you into our world to learn a little bit more about what we do here at the East Texas Crisis Center and get to know the faces that are on the ground doing the work day in and day out. Today I have with me Serena. Serena, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to hear about your journey here at the East Texas Crisis Center. I know you've been involved before you ever became employed.
Yes.
So would you want to share a little bit about what that looks like?
Sure. I actually was in Alpha Chi Omega here in Tyler, Texas, and their philanthropy is domestic violence awareness. So that's kind of how and why I chose that sorority when I was going through recruitment. Because that was a mission that I was very passionate about and I could see myself really diving fully into. And the agency that they partnered with was East Texas Crisis Center. So I was already becoming familiar with the East Texas Crisis Center through volunteer work with Alpha Chi. And then my undergraduate degree was psychology, and I got the opportunity to do an internship, and it was a no-brainer for me to choose the East Texas Crisis Center as my internship site. And I had actually done a few tailoring events. One was with you at UT Tyler, and I knew after doing that this is where I wanted to be. So my supervisor at the time had actually kind of nudged me towards an employment opportunity here, and I jumped fully into it. I started as a residential advocate in the emergency shelter, actually. So I got practice with that client interaction, overseeing the operations of the shelter. I answered the 24/7 hotline, which is actually one of the things that I miss the most about that part of the job. But then it was my goal, because under my internship, I worked so closely to a survivor advocate in client services. I knew that's what I wanted to work my way up to. So when an opportunity came up to be a case manager in shelter, which was a step in the right direction towards a survivor advocate, I jumped into that role, which is essentially the same as a survivor advocate, but specifically catered to residential clients that are staying in the shelter. And then once, again, an opportunity opened up in client services for our non-residential clients to be a survivor advocate, I jumped into that role. So that's where I'm at now, and I love everything about it. I get to work with loads of clients every single day, and then I also facilitate the HEART group, which is the domestic violence support group here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing. That's quite a journey, right? From volunteer to emergency shelter, now to non-res. And I think it just illustrates your passion, right? So just from what I've witnessed seeing you work, especially out in community events, you just have. It seems like it came natural to you. So I'm so happy that everything aligned.
Yes,
I'm so happy that you're in a position now where you're able to do what you love and you're passionate about and care for survivors in a way that meets your ability to care for them. So is there a difference, from your time in the shelter? You mentioned that, one of your favorite things was answering that 24-hour hotline and just speaking to survivors in that crisis moment. Is there something different that you noticed about serving survivors in the emergency shelter versus serving survivors in non-res?
So one of the biggest differences that actually came as a surprise to me is how many more high-risk clients I work with in non-res, it surprised me, because whenever we're working with shelter clients, my initial assumption would be these are the people that are in the most danger. But the reality is, when I see them, they've already gotten to shelter. They've already gotten to safety. And while there are still some, things to take into consideration in terms of risk and, what is it going to look like when they leave the shelter, yes, these people are still in danger. There's also a lot of them that once they get to shelter, they're pretty much good, and we're able to start fresh and move forward to the next chapter. Whereas with non-res, I see a lot of clients that are still living with their offender. And so I'm starting with them from that beginning stage of how do we make a safe exit. And maybe that's why I love it so much, because even though it's heavy and you're dealing with some, scary things for us as an advocate, but also for that client, it's also really rewarding when you're able to help guide that client out of an abusive situation and then start the process of, okay, let's find you new housing. Do you come to shelter? Or can we go ahead and, break a lease and you go, to this new apartment with your kiddos, or whatever that looks like for them. So I would say, one, bigger caseload, but two, there's more high-risk clients that I work with. So I actually get to work with Miss Mary Crow, our DVHRT coordinator, quite a bit. She's probably sick of seeing my face. But yeah, no, it's a great opportunity for me to use my resources and work with more people to get as many people in my client's corner as possible.
Yeah, so you think one of the driving factors behind that is because we know that leaving is the most dangerous time, right? Yeah. So there's a lot at play there for why they stay. And sort of, you want to take us through what that looks like, what safety planning looks like, the importance of it?
Yes. Safety planning is the most important thing you can do. I have this rule where no client leaves my office without having a safety plan of some kind in place. And that doesn't matter how high risk or low risk their situation is. They're going to have a safety plan of some kind. And in these intakes, we are assessing to see what the risk is. And when we assess the risk, we're seeing how likely, how capable is this offender of taking this person's life. It sounds very extreme, but we have to, assess that, because that will determine how extensively we're safety planning with this person. And because safety plans are so personalized, there's no one size fits all safety plan, we really need to have a good idea of what their unique situation is that brought them in, so we can effectively safety plan with them. So when we're safety planning, we're looking for the risk level, but we're also looking to see, who is their support system? Who can they go to? Who can they call if things escalate? We're asking if they have kids. How are they going to have those conversations with the kids to make sure the kids know whenever it's time to, pack up and leave? How do these people have pets? Like, where are they going to go? Because we don't have a pet-friendly shelter, actually. But we have resources to other shelters that are pet-friendly. So we need to know, are we encouraging them to call our shelter, or are we encouraging them to call a shelter that, accepts pets? We're talking about go bags, which is that bag with your important documents and whatever other, things you feel like you absolutely have to have when you leave. Because we're working with the assumption if things become so dangerous that you have to leave immediately and you can't think twice, what do you have to have? Because we're assuming you're leaving with nothing other than the clothes that you're wearing and whatever you put in that bag.
Right.
And the kiddos can have a go bag too. I've had extreme cases where clients did have one supportive person. They actually left the go bag with that person. So all they had to do was maybe walk to the gas station down the corner, make that call. That person was right there to pick them up and bring them straight to shelter. So it's hard to say exactly what a safety plan looks like because every single one is so unique. But that's kind of the gist of some of the bigger things that we're looking for.
Yeah, there's so many variables at play and such risk involved, right? And so essentially, you're working on the front lines to help create a way to save these survivors' lives, because we know the danger level significantly increases once they exit. So that's just incredible, necessary work that you're doing, especially in conjunction with Mary. So it's just amazing to hear that detail, because oftentimes it may just be assumed, well, just pick up and leave, but there's so much attached to that actual step of leaving, and then also just honoring the bravery it takes to take that step.
In fact, I like that you bring that up, because a lot of people think that my job is just helping people leave abusive relationships, but And that is a big component, right? But I'd say the biggest part of my job is helping people find their voice. Because it's not always time to leave, right? Because sometimes it's too dangerous. That's actually the hardest part of my job, is whenever I have a client, I'm like, okay, it's actually not the time to leave. As much as I want them out of it, like, we're not in a situation right now where that's safe. And so we're having a safety plan around that. But a lot of my job can look like sitting in a courtroom and being that person that they can make eye contact with when they're giving their testimony on the stand, just to get that little extra boost of courage. Or it's, you know, encouraging them to go to the support group. And I also get to be the facilitator, so getting to see them not only, you know, be vulnerable and talk about their own story, but see other people doing it and seeing that click in their brain that I am not alone. So things like that are what really makes my job what it is. It's not just I'm helping these people leave, it's I'm helping these people find the courage to use their voice and tell their story so that they can really move forward and identify as something other than just a survivor of abuse.
I really love that, working from the baseline of the survivor is the expert in their lives, right? Because it may not be time to leave. But just to kind of coattail off what you were just saying, can you share with us what fills your cup with hope?
Yes. So there's two things. The first thing is, one, how meaningful, like I said, this work is. I get to work with clients every single day, and I firsthand see the difference that we get to make in people's lives. You don't see it with every client, but I would say a lot of my clients, I can see the change. I can see that first smile on their face. The first time they say, you know what, I'm really proud of myself, or I know now it's not my fault. Those wins is what really gives me the most hope, because I know that that's possible for every single survivor that walks through our door. And then the other component is, while fighting for survivors of domestic violence in various ways, including policy change and all of those things, feels like such an uphill battle, what gives me the most hope is being surrounded by so many people that have the same passion, the same drive to fight for survivors. I feel like it's easy to get caught up in feeling like, oh my gosh, we're never going to win this fight. It feels like the world is up against it. But I am around so many strong women and so many strong individuals that care so much about this work that it makes me feel, you know what, we can do this. We'll do this one day. It's an uphill battle, but we've got this, because we got some real strong people behind us.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank y'all for joining us today. Let us know in the comments what you would like to hear from us, and we'll see you next week.